sit down and them not deliver. Cut up the youth and rough and it's down in our river. Them a bold money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell. Go mash up people start and thief when them sell. Big bun. What they treat the market man. Big bun. What them a treat the cat man. Big bun. What they treat the peanut man. Big bun. What them a treat the dirt man. Big bun. What them a treat the sun man. Big bun. Stibby dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we love lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for we in Global TV. Check it.
This is Global TV election campaign coverage. This is Global TV election campaign coverage. This is Global TV election campaign coverage.
Good evening all, and welcome. Thank you all for joining. I almost canceled because I am just coming from my cousin's grave digging in Jamaica on social media. It is still going on. I have just break to come over and do my show to go back over. So I'm not going to be here awfully long with you tonight, because I want to go back over and support my family. And I will just do a quick tribute tonight while grave digging is going on in Jamaica. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Right. Thank you all. Good evening to those on the X, on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube. Good evening, and welcome. The Jamaica Debating Commission, the People's National Party, and the Jamaica Labour Party has just for 2 days waste current. The Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party for 2 days has just waste current. Good evening to Sandra Mitchell on Facebook. Good evening to everyone on the stream, in the chat. Good evening to Arlene Foster. Good evening to Arlene Foster. Good evening to Beaton Teach. VM, good evening, Natalia Freeman. Good evening, Debbie Jervis. How are you? Good evening, Sunshine. Good evening. Good evening to Jason Kane. Good evening, Amazing Grace. Good evening, Patricia Matthews. Good evening, everyone, and welcome, Prof. Gorgeous Lady. Good evening and welcome, Elaine Turner. Good evening and welcome. Good evening, Izzy Holder. Good evening and welcome. Michelle Lewis Wilson, God's Gift. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Janet Bailey, good evening and welcome. Navet Samuels, good evening and welcome. Good evening, Faith Forbes. Faith is my sister. Good evening and welcome. Lilith Foster, good evening and welcome. Good evening, Inner Circle. Good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining. Who else is here? I Easy Jerk World. Good evening, manners and respect. Good evening and welcome. Monica Willis, good evening and welcome. Brenda, good evening and welcome. If you go onto Facebook, it's on Primrose page. Hold on then. Me go send it in a family group. A Primrose, a stream it. Lilith Foster. Who else? Elaine Turner. Hold on. Kezia Clothing Club. Good evening and welcome. Hold on the faith. Let's send it in the family group faith. Oh, my hand. Who else is here? Who else is here? Who else is here? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Thursday night and Saturday night, the Jamaica Debating Commission, the People's National Party, and the Jamaica Labour Party just make a waste with current. What did you learn from that debate policy-wise? How was the question put forward by the moderators? And were the question answered? Mary Messenger, good evening. Good evening and welcome. Remember, I tell them something now, stay here long with you because I go back and set up. I go back and grave digging a little more. But what happened at the debating commission the other night, those 2 nights? But call Venesha Phillips. Call Venesha Phillips, because everybody seemed to have a way with God and religion when they want to pull a wool over our eye. Call Venesha. Because if the Labour Party could put up Venesha for debate, the Labour Party could put up Desmond Mackenzie for debate, the thief in mayor down a town there, what his name? Delroy Williams. Then that's a sad indictment. But Venesha, the other night, Thursday night, at the debate, the Labour Party sent the traitor, Venesha, the treacherous grin that Venesha had on her face all night. Venesha had a poem when she needed to answer a question. We will engage, perform, and communicate. What that mean? What does that mean, Venesha Sinting or rather? We will engage, perform, and communicate. You mean at this point, or at two you just jump over from over there so where you did blind and come over where you see now Venesha? You jump over from where you're blind and come over now I see. So your uncle see now say you have to go engage. I wonder if I because the pastor, the Archbishop from Dover, come to Jamaica, come telling the son to engage with me more. I wonder if I make you ready to engage, perform, and communicate. Doesn't that sound rather backwards? Or am me backwards? Because I know I'm not too bright. When we listen to certain people. But is it me or them who say them are go engage, perform, then communicate? Me not understand it. And a waste of current happened Thursday night. What's a waste of current happened last night when you sent 2 thieves, 2 criminals, Desmond Mackenzie, with him and Darrell Vaz in a war over kickback money? Man, if you go into the Integrity Commission report, Delroy Williams, Feather, the mayor, him in there too. He's been investigated too. He has been investigated as well by the Integrity Commission. But because Venesha find a new chopping team, Venesha can't see now. The traitor. I who buy out Venesha? Is it Feather? Is it Feather or Mackenzie? Would it be Feather or Mackenzie who bought Venesha out? Because the load of nonsense with Venesha come with the other night. She did blind for so long when she over yonder. But now she wake up and I say, me never cue nothing for ask you, Venesha, because you remember them. And a lot of people remember them. But which of the stories is true? Traitor. Because that treacherous grin You have on your face one night. What you think I smell, you smell. No, Venesha, it's the grin of an embarrassing traitor. The fact that Venesha couldn't come talk about the Labour government is the most credible and transparent with integrity to lead you. I wonder if that woman they have sense. So all the time you did over PMP, what you did over the Ado, that all of a sudden you reach pan a new chopping block. You reach pan a new chopping block, Venesha. So your eye opening up now because when you over PMP, you never know say so much money there for thief. Because the mayor Kingston, Feather is a cat in the KSMC or whatever the acronym is. Ask Feather how much a KSMC the money to court in baby mother them all over the place. Feather members say we have all of the quarreling fight note between your woman them and your concubines and whatever them where with money are going on. And this young lady come tell we now, say the Labour government is the more credit. Which are your stories to Venesha? Because this is how traitor behave. And look who Andrew Holness them send out to come debate. The traitor. The Venesha come and tell we, Rosie D, good evening and welcome. They should come and tell we how credible the Labour government is. What you did sit over PMP do so long? So what, the Labour pay you all this time to go over People's National Party as Snoop? Venesha? Because if you Snoop, you did over there, Snoop. Good evening, Flo M. Audrey Robinson. Good evening and welcome. You have did over there, Snoop, Venesha. So you sit down over there so long, and all of a sudden you jump over the chopping block because Delroy Williams and Desmond McKenzie pay you. But let me say to the people, I wish division shit in a Papi in a rather. Hold on there. Papi in division. Let me say to the people of Papi in division. Rena, good evening and welcome. Let me say agnostic, good evening and welcome. Let me say to the people of Papi, the Papi division. May I know a picture with our face, big pie, yeah? Hold on the people, senior. Number 15. Hold on the people. Hold on. Because I say, let me say to the people of Papi. Let me say to the people of Papi, this is the classic treacherous politician you need to be afraid of. Listen again. This is the classic treacherous sharp two-side machine. You don't know which side or mouth you talk about. This is the classic politician to be afraid of. Because if Venesha see brighter grass tomorrow morning, the people of Papi, she's going to go, she'll go run left on. If she see brighter grass tomorrow, if a newer party come tomorrow, Venesha say more money for thief, more money for pull under the table. Because Venesha says she sit down with the People's National Party so long. And People's National Party don't look like them, I will get control of the KSMC. So make me go over to the chopping block. Make me go over to the chopping block and then have the nerve to come and tell us. Once I was blind, but now I can see. Where I see? How treacherous you are? Is it that you are seeing, Venesha, how treacherous of a person you are? How can the people of Papi trust you when they don't know which side you are swinging, Venesha? Which side of the machete I got chopped from, Venesha? Your treacherous grin. And you put it on all night with the one rotten poem where we don't know who write it. We will engage, perform, and communicate. Backward, back class dunce. We will engage, communicate, and we will engage, perform, communicate. And who write the poem? Who wrote that poem? Because every question you get asked, you first turn to your poem. But this is the politician. We're afraid of all our politicians, them, don't get it wrong. But when you see a female underholdness in the making, be afraid of them. And I want to say to the People's National Party, mash it up and start again. Mash it up and start again, because the division in that party since Portia Simpson Miller leave. I don't know if it did there when Mama P did there. But the division, because this lady, what's her name? Oh God, one of the lady where they forget the fifth screenshot, this thing today where Lisa Hannah put out. But Lisa Hannah is out on a limb, and one of those independent, labor right where run independent will get thrown out of the party. And Lisa was on a limb this morning with, the bitterness that the People's National Party have circling around. But it's just, I think the People's National Party need to just mash up the party and start again, because let me quickly run through Lisa. Delroy Henry, good evening and welcome. Alison Hamilton, good evening. Good evening and welcome. Let me just run through Lisa rant. I have learned in life that time is great. Time is a great equalizer, and often it is patience and not a fight that allow others to see what you've been trying to do, trying to explain or prevail upon. Lydia Richards, yes, that's the woman she's referring to. Lydia Richards is one of the People's National Party councillor who gone independent. Lydia Richards was elected councillor from the Bensonton Division on the 19th of June 2003. She was one of the 3 Southeast Sentence councillors who orchestrated and the ousting of the former MP Aluna Asamba from the Southeast St. Anne's constituency, not allowing her to finish her term as an elected representative. Notwithstanding Councillor Richards and other councillors opposing my entry to the seat, I was elected as Member of Parliament in 2007 for Southeast St. Anne's, and 3 times since. Cheers. Over the years, I have kept silence to keep the peace within the constituency and in the party. Over the years, I have kept silence to keep the peace within the constituency and in the party. As such, since 2013, I have listened and watched my name and character maligned and discredited throughout the People's National Party and the public by Lydia and others. Carlos, all right? Good evening, Carlos. I don't know if you arrived yet. Good evening. Avis Benjamin, good evening and welcome. First time seeing you. Welcome to Global Television. Good evening and welcome. Thank you for joining us. How we did there now? How we did there? How we? No, sorry. Yes, me done this. So now he is expelled from the party, running as an independent candidate for the Bensonton Division in the Southeast St. Anne's constituency. As a sitting member of Parliament for the Southeast St. Anne's, I wish Lydia well. No, I don't believe you, Lisa Hannah. This is the two-faced shades, bitterness, personal ambitions, all of them something there. destroy the People's National Party, because everybody is about their personal ambition, and the whole social democracy aspect of the People's National Party is lost because everybody want to be head cook and bloody buckle washer. As the sitting member of Parliament for the Southeast St. Anne's, I wish Lydia well in her life outside of politics as we all continue to support the PNP in East St. Anne's. That paragraph I may just read, I'm going to read it back again. Because what Lisa just said in that paragraph, yeah, Abe, as the sitting member of Parliament for the Southeast St. Anne's, I wish Lydia well in her life. I wish Lydia well in her life outside of politics. Abe, as well as we all continue to support the PNP in Southeast St. Anne's. So when Lisa Hannah basically I said to Lydia, Abe, look how you fight against me. If you not get this seat, and for me get it every time me go against whoever and me get elected. Look upon you now, Lydia. Look upon you now. Whether you fight me, you fight out alone or Samba. You there fight me. Look upon you. I wish you good life outside of the party. I beg the party that there is a division in the Labour Party since Portia gone. Mash the thing up and start all over again, because this is the problem. Why our country has gone to a dictator, two family and their 40-odd cronies. It is because of that bitterness in the People's National Party. Rise, one PMP, resistance, and everybody at each other's throat. And nobody think that, oh, well, let's do it for the country. No, because none of you across the People's National Party have the people's heart at interest. It's about who is at the helm of power in the People's National Party. Hence, we have a thief like Andrew Holness raiding through our personal constitution and our legislative process and every God almighty thing you can think of till Andrew has sit down and vanata bull crap.
Thank you, good, ambitious, hardworking, industrious, peaceful, law-abiding citizens of Anatomy. Lots of things are planned for your town. Lots of things are planned for Jamaica. And you are seeing change happening right in front of your eyes. Please don't.
May I go play it back again? You are seeing the change happening right in front of your very eyes. The two items where you never see when Dean Jones pull out the gun. It's the same eye you look out at this evening. And at the same eye, you look out at when Holness said this wherever and did they were there. The same eye where we never see when Dean pull the gun and when Dean a wheeling fist and when Dean a run down man for shoot them. We never see out of that eye. And never that eye there. Remember, we never look out at that eye. So, make we look out at the eye. What we there look out at when Dean draw the gun to see the things them we are right in front of our very eye. See them take away for food.
Thank you, good, ambitious, hardworking, industrious, peaceful, law-abiding citizens of Anatomy. Lots of things are planned for your town. Lots of things are planned for Jamaica. And you are seeing change happening right in front of your eyes. Please know that I don't go to my bed without thinking about your problems and dedicating all my time trying to find the solution. You have given me a wonderful welcome and you have been a good audience. God bless you. Please know that I love you.
Oops, official, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Good evening and welcome. Has anyone arrived that I have missed? Angela 48349, good evening and welcome. Shauna Smith, good evening and welcome. Thank you all for joining. Good evening, and welcome. And if you are on the live and in the chat and not in the chat, good evening and welcome. Big up Jamaican Carlos, a rebel for the cause. You know, say Carlos always. Carlos, let me tackle you this evening, Carlos. Come here, call you this evening and you don't answer. Why, when you talk about poverty, Carlos, you come off of my gate, come sit down and just hear my family business, so Carlos? Why is it when you talk about poverty, Carlos, you come right at my gate, come sit down and just hear my family business, so? But the meat over the fireside, Carlos, don't have to be part of country. We call it hankra. You call it crane. But we call it hankra. Mama Smith, good evening and welcome. That's a real story where that tripod, a piece of beef, we tie up over the hankra. You put in the pot and boil it for taste up the peas soup and hang it back up for later on another day. But Carlos must come from half of my yard when he talk about poor people. Joan Brown, good evening, and welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Yes, Carlos, you have a habit when you talk about poor life. You come park right at my gate. And just dish out the things them. I tell the whole community, sir. But let's hear what Golden said after the throne speech. And should Golden not be running around with that old cursing pan? Remember when we used to use cursing pan, a beat? We never have Guguzela in the 80s when election campaign. It was the old cursing pan and a piece of tick when the campaign is going around. But should Mark Golden be going around with an old cursing pan and a piece of tick and be beating and saying this loudly and clearly for an awful long time now?
Thank you, colleagues, members of the media. Thank you for coming. I won't say much on the throne speech, other than to point out that there was very little new in it. Most of what we heard are things that we've already heard announced. Clearly, they have a very poor track record of delivering on their promises in the throne speech. In prior years, when it comes to legislation, most of the legislation they commit to in a given year is not delivered, and that indeed was the case for the 2023-24 parliamentary year, which is coming to a close, or has just come to a close, where 90% of what they said they would do, they did not do. There was very little in terms of things to look forward to, and some of the things that they have relied on as achievements really need to be scrutinized carefully, because, for example, the unemployment rate of 4.5% is in the context of over 700,000 Jamaicans being outside of the labor force and therefore not counted in that 4.5% number, of which some 400,000 are adults of working age and are not in work. And this is contributing to the social problems in the society, the worsening poverty, and indeed the crime and violence that has become so prevalent in Jamaica. I'm very concerned on a broader level at the way in which this government has been conducting Parliament. They have done much to reduce the checks and balances that a democracy requires Parliament to play in relation to executive power. For example, we have seen their attempts to defer the tabling of the critical reports from the Integrity Commission and the Auditor General. And this continues to be an issue on which there's significant uncertainty. The legal opinion on which the Speaker has relied from the Attorney General's chambers as to her ruling has not been disclosed to parliamentarians, even though she received it in her capacity as the Speaker of Parliament, and it impacts all parliamentarians, and they ought to have access to it. We have seen the parliamentary committees not functioning well. The Holness administration in 2020 made a decision to abandon the convention that had been established over the two previous governments, both PNP and JLP governments, by appointing now government-side MPs to chair the sectional committees, most of them. And that is a retrograde step as well, and those committees are not functioning effectively. We have seen the Prime Minister impose a gag on his own cabinet on speaking on issues to do with the Integrity Commission. That is unprecedented and is in the context of the annual report of the Integrity Commission last year, which said that there are 6 MPs who are under investigation for illicit enrichment, a serious corruption charge. And this is a cloud over the government's head, which remains unresolved. Most well-thinking Jamaicans know that they know who those persons are, but instead of disclosing that to the public and ensuring that those persons recuse themselves from any activities where they may have a conflict of interest if they're under investigation for illicit enrichment, the response of the Prime Minister is to impose a gag order on his cabinet. And indeed, we're presented with a situation where the head of government in Jamaica has statutory declarations which the body responsible for anti-corruption matters has been unable to certify. Not just 1 year, but more than 1 year of those statutory declarations remain uncertified. No satisfactory reason has been given by the Prime Minister for this. And quite frankly, in any self-respecting democratic system, that should disqualify him from putting himself forward for any renewal of office. We have heard nothing from him of any substance as to why his statutory declarations are not certified. And indeed, we're about to have to file again. We're in the filing period now for the 2023 year. And the cloud remains over the Prime Minister for prior years. It's very unsatisfactory. The other thing I would say, that given that the throne speech was delivered in the context of a local government election campaign, there was nothing in it about a new vision for local government. This government has adopted a situation where all powers to do with the funding of local government vested effectively in the minister, who allocates them as and when he feels fit. This is no way to run a local government system. The councils must be empowered by having their funding provided on a timely basis to execute their mandate. And there are other reforms that are required to make the local government system more effective in delivering services to the people. And when we release our manifesto, you will hear what the People's National Party intends to do when we come to government in relation to making local government more.
Stacey and Cynthia B, good evening and welcome. Let me make it clear. If you don't know this, you're going to know now. I'm not a JLP supporter. I'm not a People's National Party supporter. I'm a Jamaica supporter. But I want to say to the People's National Party executive members tonight, the People's National Party hierarchy, come back to the country. You have all gone off in your separate feelings, your hurt, your pain, your anger, your frustration, your let down, your betrayal. You have all gone off into something that's not about the country. Come back to the country. Why am I saying this? There is a danger to our democracy. A lot of you don't understand the great danger to our democracy. You saw a part of it played out in the Privy Council the other day, where our corrupt officials can stitch it up, cook it up, and swing it up and send with our prison, whether it happened or not. That's a danger to our freedom. That is a danger to our freedom. None of them not clear from it. Not the JLP, not the PNP. Two of them have them fair share of thieving. Two of them have them fair share of arming garrison. Two of them have them fair share of doing nothing for we. So we not support none of them. But in a democracy, you need a balance of power. Since 2020, we've lost that balance of power. It's a risk to our democracy. You need to understand that context of it. Take away the P's and the J's. No, the P's and the L and the N's, and deal with the J, the Jamaica. Irvin Morgan, good evening and welcome. Take away all of that and focus on balance of power. It is why Andrew can stick with Constitution when him like. Him can pull off the clothes of a legislative process when him like. Him can kick off shoes off our accountability process while him hand in our back pocket day and night without no form of accountability. You cannot have a government that walk into the legislature and force a legislation through parliament in 8 hours. You all need to understand the danger of this. In Jamaica, because we have the Privy Council to guard that under constitutional court, Marvira Lloyd, good evening and welcome. All right, in England here, if Parliament pass a law tomorrow, because in a parliamentary democracy, it's majority carries. Parliament pass a law tomorrow set to kill all blue-eyed babies. The police have to enforce that law. Regardless, it's illegal, it's unconstitutional, it's inhumane, it's immoral. It must be enforced because it's a law of Parliament. It's the supreme law of the land. We have what is called a saving grace in Jamaica because we have a written constitution. However, a constitution doesn't protect you against a tyrannical government. What protects you against, Joya, good evening and welcome. What protects you against a tyrannical government? Miranda Rado, good evening and welcome. What protects you against a tyrannical government? How many of the veteran must be asleep? Diane Campbell, good evening. How you do? What protects us against a tyrannical government? The humble one, good evening and welcome. Fabian Anderson, JP, good evening and welcome. What protects us against a tyrannical government is a balance of legislative power and public accountability. We do not have that balance in our legislature. The Jamaica Labour Party controls the House of Representatives and controls the Senate. Therefore, they can get any legislation through within a matter of hours. Legislation is not done within hours unless there's an emergency, just like when we had COVID. JB, good evening and welcome. In this scenario, there ought to be a green paper. You put out a proposal to say we're going to do X, Y, or Z. Then a white paper with consultative proposal that this is how we hope to amend the law. And you and the opposition can come together and decide, is this the right way? Do you oppose this? Will you vote on this in Parliament? All of these like a backdoor things happen legislatively. Maria Williams, good evening and welcome. But the Prime Minister cooked up a piece of paper, come to Parliament, and because he has a political majority, he have a legislative majority, the Prime Minister push it through the Senate and push it through the House of Representatives and push it through the Senate in a matter of days. That's a risk to your democracy. Even though we have the Constitutional Court or the Supreme Court by which we can challenge the government, the legislative process to see if it contravenes the Constitution. But how much of our legal scholars in Jamaica, when there is such a debacle, will go straight to the Supreme Court or the Constitutional Court to ask the justice's opinion and whether this legislation contravenes our Constitution and any right given to us in our Constitution. And so legislative, want to see Andrew do in a Parliament, EM, good evening and welcome. Want to see Andrew do in a Parliament where you nothing don't go so. That's not how legislation is done. There is a process to go through to legislate freedom, good evening, and welcome. When you legislate, you're changing things for people for a long time and for generations. So you just don't legislate because it suits you, especially when it comes to constitutional offices, offices of accountability. And that is the danger that the division in the People's National Party has placed the country in. Because this division, and even at the point where, even though Mark Golden said to them, which was wrong of him, I thought, whatever I have put it on now until after election. No, you still have the general election to go for Mark Golden. So if you go think to say then, because we're upon the campaign chill, Libert Peart, good evening and welcome. Because we're upon the campaign chill, we fi keep the peace. No Mark Ubuntu, good evening and welcome. No Mark Golden, you need a united government also. If we no win, you also need a united government to run the country. What, you want the same Harlem pulling? We're going from Portia Ghana and especially from Dr. Omar Davis gone. You want to go to another general election with that Harlem pulling? Mash it up and fix it back. Or come out on yourself and come back to the country. Because that's what the People's National Party was. If you look at the political euphoria across the country, the grassroots wants to unite. The grassroots wants to see the executive of the People's National Party unite. But there is so much bitterness and selfishness and hurt and pain and all of the angles and tangles where you say I would Lisa and Lydia and the whole of them at the moment. No. It's just deepening the division. Sophia Moore, good evening. Anika Hope, good evening and welcome. It's just a deepening of the division. We're not going to get our country back to a balance until the People's National Party get their act together. Of course, Mark Golden is not convincing. Of course, Mark Golden is not the best leader. Of course, Mark Golden, a lot of us keep saying, Mark Golden lack a lot of leadership quality. But there are powerhouses in the People's National Party. If the party was united, that could shore Mr. Golden up and could have hold up Mr. Golden where he fall down. But the division between Rise, One PMP, Resistance, and PMP Woman Movement, there is so many little different factions at war. If una PNP at heart, una need to have what was done in South Africa after the demolition of apartheid, a truth and reconciliation. Maybe the People's National Party need an internal truth and reconciliation forum so them can trash out them who sell out who throw who under the bus, who betray who buy out who. If this doesn't stop, we might as well can hurry on our road down to dictatorship. You see how China, the wholeness are wrapped up in a bed with the Chinese them? Autocracy is on its way. Don't think it's dictatorship. Autocracy is the new thing. They mix it up. A bit of capitalism, a bit of autocracy, and a bit of polished over democracy. They just give you a little bit to say, a little bit to do, share the wealth with you a little bit. But you are the one who drive the wealth, but is not in control of it. So, if one don't want to end up in an autocracy, ruler with in an autocracy regime. Myrna, you arrive, cousin. You da grave digging, Myrna. Where Myrna there? Myrna, you da grave digging? You da grave digging, cousin? Me did that grave digging a while on social media. Tell me if you're up there. Come in. When me done my show, I come back right a grave digging. But the People's National Party need a truth and reconciliation, because they have, with their bitterness, their division, and the twistedness going between Brittany Lyon, good evening and welcome, going on between all the different fractions in the People's National Party, have thrown the country to the wolves. Isilda Williams, good evening and welcome, has thrown the country to the wolves. And I make Venesha can jump from yeso to deso and come tell you about the Jamaica Labour Party is the most credible and them transparent. Does the divided People's National Party believe say Venesha mean that, or is the divided People's National Party believe say go so? It is the same division you see with Venesha, Lydia, Lisa. It is destroying the country. Marcia McKenzie, good evening. It has destroyed the country. It has given a balance and unbalanced power to a crooked government, a government that doesn't respect your rights, a government that doesn't respect the Constitution, doesn't respect the rule of law or legislative process. It is why your Prime Minister could take a bill into Parliament and have it become law as a matter of hours. Okay. Me soon come back and set up as well. Me soon done and come back and set up. In a matter of hours, your Prime Minister put a legislation through Parliament to take away your public accountability, your office to hold the Prime Minister accountability. Venesha says she was blind over PMP. So when she come over and see the corruption, I open up. She said, whole heap over here for chop. Venesha said, whole heap over here for chop. No matter how much feather and Desmond McKenzie pay me, there's still a lot over here to chop. So let me come over here, come open my eye. Wish of your story to Venesha. When you dare talk about how good the People's National Party was, or when you talk about how transparent and how credible the Andrew Holness-led tyrannical regime is. The thing that Andrew said we see, the changes and the development that Andrew said we see in front of our very eye, can you point them out to us? But the Prime Minister sought to bamboozle us with a whole legions of lie, because the Prime Minister just have them string out, so you know. This Prime Minister string lies, improve water supply. Over 200 million spent on your water access in rural communities for drought fighting measures. The Prime Minister have a long string of lie. Long string of lie put on food. Don't know which side I'm out him attack out. Local infirmaries upgraded across the island. But because Jamaica people them now walk and show him say a lie him a tell. But you must hear about the disgrace down a Cornwall down. When you hear say Dr. Tufton thief 7 billion more. Dr. Tufton want 7 billion. The Cornwall regional budget is now at 21.4 billion. Remember what you know? We just find out that Dr. Tufton thief a portion of 1.7 trillion. Dr. Christopher Tufton stole a portion of 1.7 billion. When you work out the fraction in a 3, divide 1.7 billion by 3 for me there. I could give Dr. tough than for him 1/3 or a 1/3 we go give, or how much a third, or how much ever him I go get. But Dr. Tufton stole a fraction of 1.7 trillion. Dr. Tufton is now asking, remember Cornwall Regional, how much Cornwall Regional budget did start at? You mean the 7 trillion? Yes, the backside. 7 trillion. More than one. The thief down at Cornwall. How much was the, Debbie, if you remember? Simone Beckford, good evening, welcome. How much was the budget for Cornwall when Cornwall starts? But Cornwall is probably overrun now by probably about 15 to 17 billion. Cornwall Regional Hospital is now overrun by about 15 trillion. Lord Jesus, me keep saying billion. Somebody, maybe you know, say anything to do with maths and number and anything, but 7. All right, the final budget now, what they must say, which it's gonna move up anyway, because every year, every 2 years, we tell something else. It's now at 21.4 trillion. Tufton just asked for another 7 trillion. Remember in 2022, it went up to 14 trillion. You know, the Cornwall Regional Hospital thirsty. Because of ongo thirsty people drink water, so we Cornwall Regional Hospital are run up and down suffer. But anyway, make see what else the Prime Minister do for now. Largest fleet of garbage truck in Jamaica's history with more to come. I'm sure you all heard Thief in Feather. I'm sure you all heard Thief in Feather. I talked about the 100 truck last night and 50 more to come. Ask Feather why the country is so dirty. Ask Feather if him sit downtown. Ask Feather if him sit downtown. Ask Feather if him did hear what Juliet say everywhere garbage pile up. A comrades live there. So therefore, Feather now send the 100, none of the 100 truck in a comrades constituency. For Juliet get for walk and disgrace them pan road and pan media. Make we see what else the Prime Minister done. Can't talk in, we can go put it on paper. So we don't have to question him when he insists, so we just look upon it and move on. They take with a fool. Good fool. Shelters for the homeless established across the island. No, this is a broad brush statement. Come on, Prime Minister. Tell us where across the island you establish all of these beautiful honors. Give us some more information. All across the island, Prime Minister, is too generic. Because we know say don't go so. So stop you with the generics and be more specific, Prime Minister. You're lucky for me I go back to grave digging tonight. Prime Minister, you're lucky for me I have grave digging to go tonight and caring government. You're lucky for me I have grave digging to go tonight. But we see what else Prime Minister Tuskin have for we. 200 million invested in Revitalize. Must can call it good. Revitalizing your local market. You know, hear the lion thief now? You know, hear the lion thief? You don't see where they then run go pa. Was it Port and a Port Maria? Is it Port and I wish one of the port them go where they somebody remind me. I wish one of the port up at St. Thomas where they not St. Thomas, Portland, wholeness go break ground for the market where Desmond, Mackenzie, and Darrell Vaz a fight over kickback. Somebody remind me, please. Where the market the name? How many say Anthony R tonight? I want to Anthony R. Antonio, is it Antonio, what name? Yeah, you have to tell me the full name, Cynthia, remember me done. But however, Port Antonio, yes, Port Antonio. Go break ground for market, Buff Bay Market. Thank you. With Darrell Vaz and Desmond Mackenzie, pint gun in a one another face how long? And I trying to cut off one another throat over who gets the contract for Buff Bay Market. You know, see them go break ground where they, because them have the Prime Minister is busy going around the country, just pulling the wool over your eye. But let me say to the Jamaica people, kind of know me, I rush everything tonight to go back and set up. We're not going to vote for the distress, you know, because we know no. We know no, we're not going to vote for the distress. When them hold on the down and them take millions out on a pocket, fatten up their monthly pay. It was hard to get even one and two on come out on the street. Come say, no, we cannot stand for this. When the wanton killing of women and children, no, come out. When the violation of your legislative process and your constitution and the violations of your children right, when government create them up in a truck, hundreds of them, and just go throw them in a container, no questioning, no legal representative, no hearing in court, no day of trial, no charge. None still not come out, come demonstrate. You see how the road colorful? Me say if you don't see how the road colorful, the road colorful, because everybody is in a euphoria. How are we going to get demonstration or the process of demonstration to become more of a political euphoria? For people to say they have to stand up for themselves and tell government, say, no, I know this your promise, we know this we want and we not go settle for it. So we are going to vote for the poverty continuously, the chicken back politics. The chicken back politics is going to prevail. The rumbar of Myanmar's politics is going to prevail. Because what? The people of Jamaica have no resent. As Councillor Graham would say, the people of Jamaica have no resent in them. So as somebody fan chicken back in front of them, everybody lopsided and roll over, scratch the pig belly, and you see, no matter how rough that pig is, scratch the pig belly, the pig just drop a dot and roll over and relax. This is what politicians do to you this time of this period of the political time. They come around and they scratch your belly, and you lay down and you roll over. And once they get that X, your belly could have scratched you some more. Your belly could have itched you some more. There wouldn't be a politician there to help you scratch it because them get what they want and them gone. Let's see what else the Prime Minister has done for you. The crook who cannot verify when thief. Major decrease in crime, 75%. Murder gone down in a St. Mary, 75%. Make we hear what else place crime gone down. Hey, St. Thomas, 75%. Down. You ever wonder why since the year start, the Prime Minister have a vested interest in pulling a wool over your eye to force you to believe, say, see the murder gone down. And he go across the island and he pick out hotspot after hotspot and him tell you, see the 75%. Can you believe this is a drastic reduction? We have done so well. The man has woken up. He has woken up. But I want to say, Lord Jesus, I have so much things. I want to say to Harris Strong, the 64 guns, where is the other 130 odd? Because your intelligence, Horace Strong, said 200 gun a month coming to the country. We see you put up 64 in a paper with you. So we want the other 100 and add Corey Strong for this month. And we want the 200 for January. Can we count them up? Or what else media talk say? Yes, the Prime Minister is ingraining it in your psyche. Even though, oh, Jesus, the man, yeah. Even though the Prime Minister has not delivered on his crime promise, the Prime Minister has not legislated to the effect of his crime promise. Hey, see the pipe bomb them, we not able to hear gunfire about them. Not another gun was 321 Ubuntu, wasn't it? Not a gun fireball. And this was from October last year, wasn't it? This was from October, not a gun fire. Not a gun fire. Make we look which part crime gone down by how much percent again? Hey, 62% in Westmoreland. Hot spot. 62%. Why is the Prime Minister forcing us? I wonder if the Gleaner and the police is underreporting crime. I wonder if the police and the Gleaner is underreporting crime, because Gleaner is a state broadcaster, you know. You don't go act like is but a state broadcaster for the intent and purposes of a corrupt government. Make we look again. Clarendon, it even gone down more in a Clarendon, 76.9%. Why is Noel Williams, good evening and welcome. Why is the Prime Minister so determined to force us to believe his statistics? Let's look. Kingston and St. Andrew, crime, murder. And if you notice, this is a particular focus on murder. This brouhaha is a particular focus on murder. All of these bang around when you see me at show now, it's about murder. He's not focusing on any other crime. Murder. Why is he focusing on murder? Murder is one of the crime that stands out for every Jamaican at home and in the diaspora. It is by which a lot of us has seen crime has gone drastically out of control, sweltering day by day. So the Prime Minister is determined to have us believe that crime has fallen, and he's giving us the figures. What I'm saying, so the Jamaica Labour Party, let me go to my iPad because I can't read things on the computer so well, and I don't think it. No, I don't have. Oh no, sorry. Hold on, we need to go now on the next slide to read this. Hold on there, because this man is a liar and a thief and a crook, a criminal going back up for you for your vote. The Jamaica Labour Party has remained strong on crime. Our investment in the security forces has brought consistent results. Consistent result, you know. That's what the Prime Minister said. Consistent result. I wonder if they could show us, though, because we have not, and we are yet to see it. We are yet to see this consistent result that the Prime Minister is talking about. The latest JCF figures, the latest JCF crime statistic shows a 24% decline in murder across the communities and taking back Jamaica. So with all of this that he was giving us, and I soon come to your Shrek, China, the state of China, they have a question for you. The latest JCF crime statistics show a 24% decline in numbers across all parishes. So given all of this different places where give away across the hot pot, generally across the country, he's saying there's a 24% reduction in murders across the parish. We are building safer communities and taking back Jamaica. You know, the Prime Minister can discuss that. A vote for JLP is a vote for a safer Jamaica. On the 26th of February, he said, put your X beside the bell. Andrew Holness is saying to you Jamaicans, a vote for the Andrew Holness-led tyrannical regime is a vote for a safer Jamaica. Have you felt that safer Jamaica in the last 8 years? Have you felt safer in the last 8 years? Or when did you start feeling safer in this safer Jamaica? But this is another giveaway. The Prime Minister around the country going to give away free internet. Do you think thief can have something free for you? Just asking yourself the question, if thief give away free things. But this is a part of the control that is coming, people, because to get you all on the grid, the new grid that's coming, we have to have that internet rolled out across the country, and Elon Musk is helping them with the dictatorship. So they rolled out the internet across the country, people. It's not because they care about you. It's because they want to digitalize and pin you to a grid where they control you on your social credit and your 15-minute cities, but never mind, we'll get further into that at another time. No more false promises, said the Prime Minister. No more false promises. We are building Jamaica. Building your health. I want to name the amount of money was stolen out of health for me now. A fraction of 1.7 trillion plus 21.4 trillion at Cornwall at Regional. So building your health is making sure your money gets stolen. Building the NSWMA, how would that mean? Never mind. Building STEM. Science, technology, engineer, and mathematics. Prime Minister said, "I build the STEM subjects in your country." Prime Minister said, "I building safety and security." Don't ask me what that means. You would have to more speak to your Prime Minister about that. Building connectivity, then that I would on the internet, where them a walk and a go no fair. You know, when them are going in one hand, them a take more in the other, and that the free internet mean. Don't bother think say something free. You're going to lose more than the free internet where you get. Building tourism. Yes, we don't have a vested interest in building tourism, and that's all on the building in Jamaica. Building digital societies. Building digital societies. I remember when he did tell on the last year, so my case. We don't have to go make case and adapt. We don't have to go make case and adapt to this new system. Make case and adapt to this new system. A new financial system. And a new this year system. And when he's been tackled on it, then him roll back. Sheikh has completed the installation of the bull base sign as a pivotal step in the southern coastal improvement project. This achievement underscores our commitment to coastal infrastructure and showcasing local gems. Me understand this reading, but me going to just pick out one word. And this we learn for do a last school. You pick out one word and you twist the one word and you lament panya. You're going to the meaning of the word, the definition of the word, the intention of who did write the word, when them write the word. So me I go just go for the word local. Because we in a local government election. I go play the last school game. We don't know that. Local. We're going to have local election. Now, in the context of bribes and electoral interference, the state of China, in my view, shouldn't be propping up the government by assisting them with narrative in their election campaign to say we have done. No, make Andrew Holness do that if they want to do it China, not the state of China. Not a theocratic, an autocratic state. If you want to come influence our politics to tell people who to vote. People of Jamaica, I may say so. This is interference in your politics. Where China come in with them propaganda in an election campaign. No, make Andrew Holness come tell with a lie. Me no want China come tell me a lie on behalf of Andrew Holness. Me don't want China come tell me no lie on behalf of Andrew Holness. People of Jamaica, protect your state. You are under a soft invasion. An invasion of money, power. You see how much of your land them give away already? But me all 10 minutes gone by my time because me telling us set I'm going back to set up. But you know the rant continues tomorrow. I want to thank you all very much for being here tonight. Maria, I'm not afraid of a communist state, you know. Trust me, is the autocratic one of afraid of. The autocratic state. That are the dangerous one. Communism is based on sharing. It's the autocracy and the capitalism, me afraid of. Because they believe in a packing them belly and packing them. When you notice how manga with politicians them going to politics. Give them 6 weeks and the whole of them have pat gut. You never notice. Just put a hungry dog in a politics and look and see if by 6 months him not have fat face and pat gut. All heap of crumbs dead for thief. All heap dead for them on the table and all heap of crumbs dead for thief. This is where Global TV ends it tonight. Thanks to all of my supporters on the Twitch, and YouTube, Facebook, on the X. Thank you very much for being here with me tonight. I will now run back over to the family gathering. Thank you for being here, and we will definitely see you right back here tomorrow on Global Television. Good night.